everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Exquisite Beauty MUA and my name is Jen, and today I wanted to try those little silicone applicators that you've been seeing all around Instagram. This has been going on for some time now, but I've never gotten around to using one. The other day, probably more like a month or two since I actually bought this, that I've been wanting to try it out. I was at Marshall's and they always have those little like last minute items that you could pick up on your way to the checkout, which that area is so dangerous. I'm always looking like, oh my god, like there's so many things here, like what can I get? And I actually found these. This is what it looks like. They're just like generic ones. I didn't get any particular brand, but I did see these and I saw how much they were priced for and I just wanted to get them. Got them for $2.99, which I thought was a heck of a deal, and I figured I could try them on camera to see how they work and how they apply everything. On the back of it, it says it's a high definition silicone makeup applicator for flawless makeup finish. Hygienic and perfect for all skin types, easy to clean with soap and water. These innovative and unique silicone applicators evenly distribute creams, powders, and liquid formulas into the skin for a flawless finish. The silicone material will not absorb your makeup, requiring less product for full coverage. Use the silicone side for all liquids, gels, and creams, and the floss side for perfect application of powders. Use either side for airbrushed looking streak-free makeup. Let's try these out and see if they actually work. It did bring two of them. One of them looks just like that. It's very jelly-like, so it's silicone. This one is going to be silicone on both sides, and the other one, it's just the silicone on the one side and then it has the velvety material on the other side. Let me go ahead and use my Becca. This is the Ever Matte Poreless primer, and I'm going to apply that all over my face, and then we will move on to the foundation. And now I'm going to be using my Sephora Tint Infused foundation. This is in the color 29, and I'm just gonna take a small amount and apply it to the side of my face, and I'm actually going to use a beauty blender on the other side just so I could see a comparison to my beauty blender. I just started using a beauty blender and I absolutely love it so far. I think that this is the best comparison because when I apply everything with my beauty blender, it's very smooth and I like the finished look. Let me just put a little bit because since it's silicone, it's not going to absorb the product. Just going to be using this one to apply the foundation. It does feel very strange just because it's not something that I'm used to doing or applying it with, so it's very different. But look at that, I have that pimple there and it covered it up pretty good. I'm just trying to work in small areas because this is my first time using it, so I don't want to put on too much or all of it at the same time, just so I can get a feel for using the silicone sponge. I'm interested to see how it applies the concealer, especially since I have such problems with my under eye and the creasing, so let's just see how that will work. This side is the one that I applied with the silicone sponge, and now I'm going to be putting my foundation on the other side of my face, which I'm going to be using my beauty blender just so I could see a side-by-side comparison. Let me bring you up close just so you can see the difference on both sides. This is going to be the side that I used the silicone sponge with, which I gotta say it looks pretty good. And then this side is going to be the one with the beauty blender. They look pretty similar. Of course, the sponge, I'm using it wet. It is looking a little bit more hydrated on this side than I would say with this one, just because the silicone sponge is just using it the way it is. Next, I want to try and apply the concealer. I'm going to be using my Tarte Shape Tape Concealer. This is very heavy, so I just want to use like the tiniest amount, especially considering how the silicone sponge does not pick up much product. I'm gonna have my Kat Von D brightening powder in the color Petal ready. That way I can use that once I'm done putting on the concealer. So I'm just gonna be using the other sponge, and I'm using the silicone side, and then I'll be using the velvety side to put on the powder. because of the shape, it's very difficult to work under the eyes. Let me try using the other sponge that we were using previously. What I like about the Beauty Blender sponge is that you can just wet it and it gives you like an extra hydration, which I need that for when I am doing my under eye because I crease so much under there. This is all a matter of getting used to using something that you haven't really used before. It's all a matter of trying it a few times in different ways, with different products. So far, it's just very different. The only thing I really find uncomfortable is the way that this sponge is shaped. I am going to attempt putting on some powder. The other side does pick up a lot of powder. Again, the tricky part with this is getting under the eye into the inner corners. So let me do the other side with my Beauty Blender. I just used some no filter sheer pressed powder. This is the one by Colourpop. It is in the color medium dark, and I used my Y3 brush just to wipe off that brightening powder that I did have and then set the rest of my face. Next, I am going to be using a blush. Just going to be using the Smitten blush color. This is by Makeup Geek, and I'm going to be using my Y4 brush, and I'm just going to be using this on both sides with the same brush. And next, I'm going to go into my Jaclyn Hill highlighting palette, and I am going to be using Prosecco Pop. I actually want to try the highlight with the silicone sponge. That way I can see how this powder applies. So I am just going to be using the other side where I didn't use the Kat Von D, and I'm just going to lightly tap and put that on this side. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side with my Beauty Blender. Now I can see right away this is sitting more on top of my skin rather than in it. So this looks more like it's into my skin, like I'm glowing from within. This is more on the outer part, but I'm going to leave it like that as much as I want to blend that in because we want to see the comparison between the two. Next, I'm just going to be using my pressed powder by Colourpop. This is in Afternoon Delight, and that same Y3 brush just to apply a little bronzer onto the skin just so I could warm up a bit. And I'm just going to be finishing off by applying my Smashbox Photo Finishing Priming Water all over my face. And let me just apply a lip color and I will be right back. Here you have the finished look. Now remember, I did use the silicone sponge on this side and I used my Beauty Blender on the other one. So let me bring you in a little bit closer so you can get a final look at how my skin looks now that I've finished putting on all of my liquids, my powders, and my setting spray. That is the side that I used with the silicone sponge, and as you can see, the highlight does look very pretty, but you can see that it's sitting on top of my skin. The foundation and everything else, I like the way that it looked, but as far as my highlight, I'm not a fan of the way that it applied it. This is the side with my Beauty Blender. As you can see, everything is very smooth. The highlight is sitting into my skin. Since I've started using it, I've found that my highlight, my bronzer, my blush, everything applies a little bit better, and I don't have as much texture as I was when I was using my brushes. So I find that very, very beautiful that it does that. I'm still very in love with how the Beauty Blender side looks. A couple of differences that I could see is the way that my highlighter applied. I did use less foundation on this side than I did on this side, so that is a plus. That way you aren't using as much product, and in theory it'll last longer. And one last thing that I noticed is the cleanup. The cleanup on the silicone applicator was so easy. I literally just took a makeup wipe and cleaned it, and that's it. It's clean. I actually did it to both sponges, and it looks like nothing ever happened. Which with me, as you know, I have a little OCD, so versus as the Beauty Blender, which is a complete disaster, it looks like it's been through war and back. That's the thing with the pink color, is that they get filthy. Overall, it was a new experience to try out. That's what it's all about, seeing if you liked certain things, and it's really just about trying it with different products. Maybe it was just something that I didn't do today or did do that maybe I'll just try out differently in the future. Who knows? Maybe I'll get the hang of it, maybe I'll love it. If not, it's okay. It was a hell of a bargain that I got at Marshall's. I only spent $3 on it, and I got to share this with you. If you've ever used a silicone applicator before, let me know what your thoughts were, and if you enjoyed this video, remember to leave it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed, then just remember to do so. And remember, always be thankful, always be grateful, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Bye.